Hello and welcome to episode 42 of the Ski Instructor Podcast. My name's Dave Burrows and I'm the director and owner of Snowpro Ski School based here in Val d'Illiers in Switzerland. Hope you're all well and those of you that are out teaching are having a good time of it. You join me here. I'm recording this on the 18th of January. We're enjoying an absolutely glorious period of like high pressure weather here in the Swiss Alps and low temperatures. So I think it was start of December. We had absolutely like just bucket loads of snow, and that was then followed by there was a little rainy spell and some further snow. And all of that has stayed. So the snow is it's cold enough that the snow is sort of deep in the valley here in Val d'Illiers. The conditions are absolutely fabulous, like they really are on the piste, and it's perfect for teaching. You know, sun's out, people are happy, and everyone's having a great time. Our colleagues in France didn't have such a great time in terms of UK tourists because there was some sort of political dispute between the UK and France, which meant that we had an extraordinary number of people that had taken their holiday to France and then had to move it last minute to Switzerland. So we were extremely busy over the Christmas New Year period with that kind of thing. But I think that's been lifted now, and hopefully all of our colleagues in France can really profit from additional tourists that are going to come into them during the February and Easter breaks. So that's great. And then this week, episode 42, I'm bringing you a interview with Colin Martin of Solutions4Feet. Solutions4Feet is it's a ski boot specialist shop in the UK, located in Bicester. I've known Colin for a long time, and he's helped me out with my boots, and I wanted for a long time to do kind of a special on kind of boot fitting, and so that's what this one is going to be. We cover in part one, we talk a little bit about Colin's backstory, we talk about boats, we talk about boots, and I really hope that you enjoy the first half of this podcast, and I'll find you somewhere in the middle. Welcome to the Ski Instructor Podcast. Colin Martin, how are you?
I'm good, Dave. Thanks very much for having me on.
Excellent. Let's first talk about this because you had a bit in the preamble. You went to the boat show yesterday.
I did go to the boat show. I kept my wallet kind of in the pocket.
Yeah.
Although I sold the boat last week, so I'm looking at another one at the moment. So the two happiest days in the boat owner's life are the day you buy a boat and the day you sell the boat.
It's funny you should say this because I go down. So I live here, not far proximity to Lac Le Mans, Lake Geneva, depending on what you call it. About 30 minutes, and every summer I normally hire a little, what do they call it, bateau sans permis, a little 5 horsepower thing you can get out on the lake on. And every time I'm out there, I think, I'm going to do my qualification and I'll get myself a big powerboat and hack around the lake. It's going to be really cool.
And then reality kicks in and your budget kicks in and you figure that is even harder than running a ski school.
It's extraordinary. Like, as money sinks goes, boats are even worse than ski schools. It's absolutely crazy.
Well, boat really stands. It is an acronym for break out another 1,000.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so there's a limit. Obviously, we're on a lake, right? Or there's a lake here. So there's a limited number of mooring places available. They cost a fortune. They don't come up very often. And the boats themselves, I thought to myself, it'd be nice. I'll have a look at the price of boats. Just a look. And I found one I liked, and I thought, that's cool. It's got a bed in it. I could sleep on it. I could go to the lake some nights and kind of hang out there and whatever. 60 grand for like a 20-year-old boat. And I'm like, what?
That's the cheap one.
It's bananas. So I've kind of put that on the back burner. And maybe I heard that you can get without a permit, you can go to the Italian lakes and you can get like a 40 horsepower boat. And so I might just go and do that and get that out on my system, and then
you should come and play on my old one. It was a 5-litre V8 in the back of it, so it went quick.
Where do you go boating? What are you doing? Because you're in
the sea, at a pool.
Okay.
On the south coast.
Yeah.
Beautiful cow pool. Beautiful place.
I used to go sailing out in the Solent and down that way. Friend of mine, Chico, his dad used to have a boat, and we used to race and all that sort of stuff. We used to do holidays up in the thing, but that all sort of, I don't know, it died a death. But they were good times. I like being out on the water. It's nice.
It's always good to have a friend who has a boat. That's the key, is so you don't actually pay for it yourself.
Absolutely, the key is not owning. That's some consumer advice for our listeners there. Do not own boats. Well,
I could say a very naughty rhyme about that, but I'm going to keep it clean.
I was thinking the same one, and I thought, no, you can't really say that. So you are the big boss man at Solutions4Feet, but before we get talking about that and ski boots, because I really wanted to have a long conversation. You've been on my list for a long time, and I want to have a long conversation with you about boots and kind of really pick your brains about what we should all be looking for and that kind of thing. But tell me about how you got into this business in the first place. What drew you to...
By mistake?
Well, okay. What drew you to feet?
So when I was at school, when my Saturday job was working in the workshop at the dry ski slope in Glasgow Ski Centre, and then I was offered a position in Nebsport, big ski shop in Glasgow. And that was just Saturdays and odds and sods here and there. And I'm actually a carpenter by trade.
Oh.
And 1991, there was a massive crash in the building industry in Scotland.
Okay.
The carpentry company I worked for went bankrupt. We all got told one Friday afternoon, you're unemployed.
No.
So I had to think about what to do, and I guess skiing was the one other thing I used to be involved with. So I went to work full-time for the dry ski slope for a little while. And then I came down south and was on the team that opened Snowdome in Tamworth. So that was the very first indoor ski slope.
Right.
And running the boot fitting, the workshop, the ski rental for Snowdome, which was fantastic until they sold the shop, and my job changed to basically being writing rotos for the ski rental and being a nightclub doorman, because they didn't have enough duty managers that were male to lock up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So there was no boot fitting then. The boot fitting bit obviously had gone with the shop, so I moved on. Did 9 years with Lockwoods in Leamington Spa.
Okay.
And during that time, I went to the US and studied pedorphics and got my board certification in 2002. And 2005, I left there and started Solutions4Feet.
Wow. Were you always
in this journey?
Yeah, it has been a journey. Tell me about that American trip to go and get qualified. Where was that? And it's quite a big leap to go and do that.
I spent the summer of 2002, so about 38 days in the most horrific hotel room in the world.
Ooh.
In New York City. Somebody else was paying for, so it had to be the cheapest hotel room available.
That can't have been very nice at all.
It wasn't pleasant. It was 99 degrees and 98% humidity.
Oh.
Thankfully, this little hotel room with its single bed, its basin, and its little 14-inch TV in the corner had an air conditioning unit, which worked.
Oh well.
But I spent time there studying at the New York College of Podiatric Medicine and the Innislow Pedorphic Institute and Langer Biomechanics.
Wow.
Basically, learning all about the biomechanics of feet and pathology of disease and how to make orthotics.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, and so then you came back then with a whole bunch of information. Did you know, was that also to do with how that related to ski boots, or was that something that you've added on later on?
Obviously, I was fitting ski boots prior to it, and the reason for doing that qualification was I wanted more knowledge about the biomechanics side, so that I could basically apply it more in the ski boot fitting.
Okay, because you curate this. I'm a member of it, and it's fascinating. But you curate this little Facebook group called what's it called? Boot Fitters, something. I can't remember exactly what it is, and. To me, it's fascinating seeing some of the solutions that the boot fitters around the world are coming up with for people with all sorts of odd feet. It's incredible, some of the hacks that they're doing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's some crazy stuff we get up to. Everybody's constantly trying to innovate. Tools in our industry are incredibly expensive because they're essentially not one-offs, but they sell so few of them that people we're constantly making our own tools, trying to find a way of doing something. So a classic example is that I want to stretch the instep of a boot up the way. I can do that using a little inflatable lifting bag, something called a wind bag, which joiners and carpenters use for jamming door frames in place, or you use for picking up your washing machine to adjust the feet, and the lacrosse ball. So I can make the tool for this that stretches that particular part of the boot for about £15.
And presumably you're hunting around for solutions like that all the time,
absolutely.
Aren't you?
All the time.
So you'll see something in another industry. So you must be looking at all sorts of weird and wonderful other places other than just skiing.
Absolutely. You have to. I mean, you have to look outside the ski industry, outside the box. Anything that's got ski written on it's like boat. Anything with ski or boat or marine written on it, the price goes up.
Yeah. Motorbikes.
So I look at what's the joinery solution or the engineering solution or where can I buy that will do this job? We make a lot of bits and pieces. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. You throw it in the bin, but that's just about the innovation, trying to find things that work.
And so you came back from that course and started straight up the business. And did you have an existing kind of client base, or you just went for it? Like, what was?
I stayed hired by contract with doing the course because it was partially paid for by Lockwoods.
Right.
So I had to stay there for 2 years. I actually stayed 3. And then when I left in 2005, we've been planning for a little while. And I started the business without physically selling ski boots.
Okay.
We sold some running shoes, we sold insoles, we sold ski socks and running socks, and we worked on boots that people brought to us.
Okay, I understand.
And when our customers wanted to buy a boot, then we took them. We used to have a little ski shop in Bicester called Beans of Bicester.
Right.
And we used to take them along there, and Chris that owned the shop would let me go in. I'd basically fit the boot or start fitting the boot in the store.
Yeah.
He would sell them the boot, and then he would pay me a little bit of money for selling the boot for him.
Okay.
So I'd get a small commission from him, then I would be charging for the insole and the fitting time.
Yeah. Wow. And then
a couple of years later, we then went into a small range of ski boots. And I always remember our first year's ski boot spend was 12 models of boots, and our total spend was about £11,000.
Wow. I suppose that's changed a little bit now.
Pre-COVID, an unusual year, we were spending over 200,000.
Wow, that's a lot of boots.
It's a lot of boots. And sometimes you make good decisions, and sometimes you make bad ones.
Well, yeah, I hear that. The isn't the thing though. I guess when you're working, is it a little bit? Oh, this is a bit of a stretch, but is it a bit like working in the pub trade where you work with, you have free houses where you can have loads of different types of beers, and then you have places that are kind of linked to a certain type of beer, and you can only sell those once. Does it work the same in the boot industry?
Not really. It's changed over the years. Years ago, you used to have dealer contracts with some brands, and you might get another shop would try and say, "Oh no, I don't want you to supply them. I've ordered 150 pairs of these boots.
Yeah.
So if you supply them, I'm cancelling my order. Don't give them any stock." And that's all changed now. Now there is generally no limit to what you can sell. It's a free market. You basically go with your checkbook and buy what you want to buy, assuming the dealer has got, or the supplier will supply you. You've got credit with them or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's no restriction. We don't have any brand restrictions. There's, every year we look at it and go, right, do we bring a new brand in? Do we get rid of one? And we look at how the market's going, and is there something that we really need to have in the store and something we really need rid of? Yeah.
Presumably lately.
It's all too easy to keep buying. We have 60 plus models in the store.
Wow. And
it's all too easy to make. I can make that 75 models very, very easily.
Yeah.
But what I really need to do is bring it back to about 45.
Yeah. But with that, presumably though, with that, you've also got to stock various sizes. This must be really, really tough to do, isn't it? Because you've got to be able to cover anyone who comes into the shop.
Yeah, so you've got different. First of all, you've got sizes.
Yeah.
10 sizes in a run.
Yeah.
Second, you've got flexes. So are they a lightweight beginner or a heavyweight beginner or an instructor or a racer or coach or athlete or whatever?
Yeah.
Then you've got foot shapes.
Uh-huh.
Then you've got the, I really want blue boots or I really want red boots. The kind of people you have to slap occasionally and just give them a little bit of a pep talk.
It doesn't match my outfit.
There is all those variables. If it was as simple as we sell white t-shirts in small, medium, and large and extra large, it would be so simple.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got size, flex, shape, width. So not even though you've got the same, you have 4 different boots with a 98mm last and narrow fit, and all 4 of them will fit very differently because of the toe box shape or the instep height or the heel width. Wow,
there's so many variables. So presumably, you must have a little list like I do. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but presumably, or maybe it's in your head after so many years of experience, but I create a little list. So my list in front of me already is things to put in place for season 22-23, which is things that are working this year that I need to remember to do again next year. Which presumably for you will be, right, this year we didn't sell that many 24 Mondo in a head whatever, therefore let's not order them next year. We need to order
exactly,
that kind of.
So we look at our buying trends, or what the sales trends are, and you try and you have a size curve obviously, and what we see is an awful lot of people with narrow feet.
Oh yeah.
Now I don't know if it's just people are having narrower feet or ski boots are becoming more accommodative.
Mm-hmm.
But what we see every time we have skinny foot day, and it's like, oh right, another skinny boot. So inevitably you end up with some wider fit boots sat on the shelf, and you go, okay, I better not buy so many wide fit boots next year.
Ah.
And if we do that, you know what happens next year, don't you?
Yeah, loads of wide foot people.
So it's a really, really difficult balance. You just got to put your finger in the air, go on what you did last year. And obviously with COVID, last year has really been written off.
Yeah. Well, presumably because you've got a bunch of stock from last year sitting there.
Well, we have a bunch of stock. Well, it affected what was selling, when was selling. So over last year, we took, unlike a lot of shops, we took our deliveries, our first deliveries, because we always take them early. Our illustrious leader in Downing Street told us that there wouldn't be another lockdown after we opened in July.
Yeah.
So we took a load of stock in, we started selling some ski boots, and it was all going really well, and then they shut us down in October.
Yeah.
And then they let us open again, and it's sort of, people were looking at travel, and was it going to happen, so they were a little nervous about buying, and then they shut us all down again in December.
Yeah.
So the ski industry, in terms of retail, got hit not only by retail closures, but by travel restrictions. So people, even if the shop was open, people weren't coming into the shop because they couldn't travel.
Yeah. No, of course.
So it's double whammy on that front.
Yeah. I was just telling you earlier that we've got a few brave souls that have booked, from the UK, Ireland, and various other places that have booked. We're actually booked out for Christmas right now already with tourists.
Fantastic.
Yeah, which is great. And I sincerely hope that there aren't any barriers in their way for them to come. They've made travel possible this summer, and I just think, I think people are sick to death of this whole thing, and they just want to get on with their lives. If it means that they have to jump through a few hoops to travel, then so be it. But they want to travel. There's a demand there. You can see it.
Oh, absolutely.
You see it.
We're seeing bookings are definitely increasing. We're still not where we should be. But I don't think if any shop can honestly say, oh yeah, we're selling as much or more than we should be selling at this time of the year right now, then they're either weren't selling very much or they're deluded and telling lies.
No, absolutely. Let's talk about that. Just this is a bit of a tangent to something I was going to talk about later, but it seems relevant to talk about it now. I was in a shop in Morjan the other day. Hi, Dommy, if you're listening. He was very kindly just adjusting a set of skis for me. And he was telling me about this summer and inventory issues that they were having at that shop. And a few people have told, I haven't seen it in my life day to day, like going about the world, but he was telling me that at the start of the summer, so last winter, they ordered 90 mountain bikes, right, of different types. And he said that they'd only had, up to this point, and we're in September now, bear in mind, they'd only had delivery of 50 of them, and some of them are coming in missing parts. He said he can't find chains for love nor money, he can't find tyres for love nor money, and apparently there's some sort of worldwide shortage of industry.
There's I think, the conspiracy theorists out there will probably say it's China doing a reset.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's China doing a reset or just with the disruption of COVID, we're not seeing reported all over the world what is happening all over the world. We get the news channels pick on the bits they want you to hear or they want to promote, and as we know, some news channels are a little bit more biased than others, want to make out that it's the world's biggest disaster, and some will tell you there's nothing more than a cold. But there is definitely, I've heard from friends that run bike shops over here, Shimano, you can't buy a Shimano chain set for love nor money.
No, he was saying the same thing.
We've already seen ski boot orders for this year. I've got liners on order from one company where the liners were due for delivery in September. So it's a new foam injection liner.
Yeah.
They were due for delivery in 16th of August. They're currently looking at the 18th of November. And what I've been told is don't expect it to get any sooner. It might go worse.
Wow.
And this is all due to factories on short working time, materials not being available, materials not being delivered because of shipping issues.
Yeah.
Containers are in the wrong place, so shipping issues are causing that.
Yeah.
I'm seeing touring boots because the only thing that really sold last year was ski touring boots because in most countries the only thing you could do was walk up the hill.
Yeah.
So if you want a pair of ski touring boots, we've had our stock, most of our stock delivered, and I'm sitting waiting on a small order I did from one brand for one model of boot which I was running low on, and I'm now being told that the earliest these will be December, and some of their touring skis that were ordered by shops for delivery now are not going to be with the shops until January or February.
Crikey. That's not good, right? Because the sales season is now.
I think it's all down the chain.
Yeah. The sales season for you is now, right? It's no good having stock arrive in January.
Well, for us in the UK, we're a little different from most stores because of how we work. But what happens with us is we get most of our clients come early.
Okay.
Whereas most shops, it's probably they start to kick off end of October, start of November. Ski season's coming. We normally start to get busy from August. Because we have all the ski instructors and the coaches and the athletes coming in over the summer, being prepared.
Yes.
We've had, notoriously, we have a section of the season at the end of the previous season where we've run out of something, and we'll tell the client the boots are due with us in July or August, so we get this early surge as well.
Okay.
Of the people we couldn't service last year.
So it's not just me that's thinking about and tinkering with boots in August then?
No.
There are many other people just like me.
There are many people just like you. Some of them, it's quite interesting. Previously, it would always be what I would call the enthusiasts. So either the professionals or the enthusiasts. The enthusiasts are the people that do 5 weeks of skiing or more a year.
Yeah.
So notoriously, these people come in and spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they come in and they spend a lot of money early. But that's who we would normally see at this time of year. But we're seeing some of them, and we're seeing some more. Oh, I've been locked down for 2 years. I haven't had any holidays. I want to buy some kit. I want to buy something in the hope that I'm going to go to Hemel or Milton Keynes, the Snowdome.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my ski holiday. How it happens, when it happens, and how we make it happen doesn't really matter at the moment. I want some ski boots.
Well, the life experience of a lot of people has been very, very miserable, hasn't it, for the last 2 years? And to take yourself to take yourself to a specialist and treat yourself to having perfectly fitted boots is a real treat for some people. So, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's a bit like going and having that nice haircut, having your hair and makeup done for the girls. It's a treat. Yeah. Yeah. You don't spend on a pair of ski boots every year unless you're absolutely destroying them, being an athlete or an instructor that's destroying their kit. So most people is every few years. So they haven't had a holiday. Why not spend the cash on some kit?
I'm about to go into season 3 with a pair of boots that seem to fit me reasonably well. I normally change them every 2 years, but I just can't be can't be bothered this year to go through all that song and dance of going and getting them fitted again and breaking in another pair. So I'm going to have a year of soft, comfy slipper boots. But I did change the liner.
More worn out than they should be.
Yeah, I changed the liner. I think the shell will last one more season. But
the shell, most shells will do 3 seasons solid, no problem. It's the liner that packs down and dies very quickly.
Yeah, I've just changed it because I had a spare. What was it? Oh, can't remember. I had a spare liner kicking around that I didn't get on with before, but I think I've modified the tongue. So I took the tongue out of the zip fit, put it in this other one. What was it? Can't remember now. It was on my Facebook post, and and so maybe that's going to work. I need to take it to SAS and see if it's comfortable or not. But it's I've been a big fan of the zip fit for a very, very long time. But
it's great liners.
Yeah, they are. But I got told last time, because you referred me to I'm not going to say his name on here because he's a secret. I don't want loads of people to use him. He's my secret, but the guy who's near Geneva, and.
Yes.
Yeah, that man. And he said to me that the guy who was running ZipFit wasn't very well or something. Like he was having some issues. I don't know whether he's recovered.
So what ZipFit's changed quite considerably over the past 18 months or so.
Right.
Sven Kummer is the guy that invented it. And Sven's in his 80s now. He's still doing little tweaks and little bits and pieces, but what's happened is his wife's grandson has taken over the running of the business.
Okay.
So unfortunately ZipFit prices did go up a little bit because they realised they weren't making any money. We were making all the money and they weren't making any. Not that we were making much.
Yeah.
But they changed the pricing, they changed the way business is done, and they're now actually starting to promote the product a little bit more. You're actually seeing ZipFit all over social media.
Yeah.
The liners are still the same liners that they have been for years. There's a new race liner that's out, the Corsa, which is super skinny fit, leather lined, beautiful piece of construction, which goes inside your proper 93, 95, 92 mil race boots, the super skinny stuff.
Yeah.
So they designed the liner for that, and they have a touring liner in the development at the moment.
Oh, cool.
Proper,
wow.
A hinged, so actual articulated rear touring liner, which is something that people have been screaming out for years.
Oh, good for them. That's terrific. Well, I'm glad to hear that, because it was worrying me that ZipFit would die, but apparently it's not going to. So
no, it will not die.
Excellent.
Generations are moving the evolution onwards.
Oh, I'm pleased to hear that. I'm really, really pleased to hear that. You did. We should talk about it. I know this is the ski instructor podcast. You're a boot specialist, but you did do some instructing stuff back in the day.
It was a long day ago.
Yeah, it was a long day ago. What did you do? Any teaching with those qualifications, or did you do them just to see what it was all about?
No, I did a little bit of teaching on the dry slope. So in, I think 1988, 89, somewhere about then, I did my ASSI at Hill End.
Okay.
And then worked at the dry ski slope, worked at the Glasgow Ski Centre, just teaching beginners and intermediate skiers on the plastic. The odd day up in Cairngorm, Nevis Range.
Okay. Did you?
And then when I moved south in 1994 to Snowdome, I just at that point said, you know what, I'm not doing this to teach anymore. I'm doing this for me.
Okay.
I want to enjoy my skiing.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. It's not for everyone, right?
No, absolutely. And it's I enjoyed doing what I did on the plastic, getting people skiing. And back in those days, we actually, before Snowdome, I think there's the Snowdomes, the dry ski slopes used to pay really good money for ski instructors. And we used to have a structured system where if you were an ASSI, you got one rate. If you were going back the old school way, a grade 3 trainee, you got one rate, and a grade 3 got another 50p an hour or whatever, and it built up to somebody that was a trainer or old grade 1 was getting a substantial sum of money for the early 90s. Yeah. So when I came down here, I was still involved. I wouldn't call it teaching, but coaching with England Alpine team with Mike Barker and those guys, basically working with the athletes. So not teaching as such, not coaching even as such, but athlete setup, equipment setup. I think quite important to have some level of qualification that you can do that from. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, hopefully we'll come to that slightly later on, because I really want to talk about that sort of setup thing. I'm curious just to ask you, like the early days of the business. So you were working with another shop, and then eventually you kind of started buying in stuff from your own. Like, what were those? Were you always in the same place? So were you always in Bicester?
We were in the same location, but in a different store. So basically, we had a smaller unit for the first. We started the first 3 years. We had a really small unit. Then we took on a second unit behind that, knocked a hole in the wall. Spoke to the landlord. He was a little nervous about it initially, but eventually went, "Yeah, okay, we can do that." And then about 8 and a bit years ago, we moved into our current location, which is 50 feet from where the first one was, just the opposite side of the courtyard.
Okay.
It's like moving house. It doesn't matter if you move in half a mile or 500 miles, it's the same hassle. You still got to pack everything up and move it.
And you still got to go into the back of the shop and think, why did I keep this? My goodness, what is this?
That is exactly what happens. You go to the back and you go, okay.
Yeah.
So first lockdown, we actually filled a 10-yard skip of stuff that we have kept.
Oh yeah, that we do not need anymore. You must have found some really cool stuff.
The baseboard from a 15-year-old ski boot that isn't made anymore and is not breakable anyway. Bin it.
You got to be ruthless with that stuff.
I think you do, but unfortunately, if you do that, the very next day, you can guarantee somebody's going to go, "Have you got a baseboard for a ski boot that was made 15 years ago?"
Yeah,
it's unbreakable. I've managed to break.
Yeah, it's true. And so the business grew from there. But were they kind of exciting times when you were building it all?
We set the business up on a shoestring, really.
Yeah.
Compared to what we spend now, we couldn't even dream about buying the stuff we buy now. Back then, it was, do we need to buy this? How few can we buy?
Yeah.
And it really was like that. Back in those days, it was much, much easier. I think COVID is basically going to teach us, it's going to teach the whole industry and a lot of industries about supply and demand and who's going to actually take the risk.
Yeah.
Because right now, it seems that the distributors or the manufacturers want the retailers to take all the risk. When we started the business, you were expected, your forward order, your pre-season order was expected to possibly be 50% of what you wanted.
Yeah.
And then you could top up with things. Now, we've been told by certain manufacturers that if you haven't ordered it, don't expect to get one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they want the distributor, or not so much the distributors, but the manufacturers are looking to take all their risk away.
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned, when it comes to ski boot, their risk is making the molds and developing the product, buying the plastic to make it. Our risk is actually to hold that stock and sell it.
Do you mind me asking, do they want you to pay for all that stuff up front? Or do you have to pay them?
You don't pay up front. Everybody gives you terms, and it will depend on the brand as to what the terms are. Terms are going to be changing. So in the past, some brands will give some payment plans that will be 90 days or even 180 days of payment terms. So you get your boots in September, and you're not paying for them until March.
Okay.
Now, I absolutely hate that. We've always been a little bit careful, a little bit frugal, but maybe it's the Scottish in me, I don't know.
Yeah.
Keeping a bit of cash in the bank, and we pay everything within 30 days or within, if there's a term available for us where they can give us an extra 1%, 2% discount for paying sooner.
Yes.
Right now, with the interest rate, you're not getting any money from the bank, so you might as well take that. And it's tiny amounts, but that 1 or 2% adds up over all of those boots you buy.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And if you can get that discount, that little extra, but it's tiny little bits, but little incremental gains. It's the old David Brill sort of thing.
Yeah.
You basically just little bit. It makes your business more effective and more profitable. So, but it depends on the brand.
Especially in this current environment, I don't know whether you have noticed this. I'm sure you have. Everyone I speak to seems to have noticed it, and probably the wider listeners will have noticed it, but prices are creeping up.
Prices are going up, and we're going to see from next year, we're going to see a massive price increase on anything ski boot, certainly, and anything that's plastic related. So the price of fuel has gone up massively in the past 12 months.
Okay.
And much as we try to forget where plastic comes from, it comes from petroleum.
Yeah.
It comes from oil.
Yeah.
And if the price of oil goes up, the price of plastic goes up, therefore the price of ski boot goes up. And we are being told by brands 10, possibly 15% on product for next year.
Really?
And they're telling us that now. which means it's going to happen. Quite often, if they don't want, they're trying to get around doing it, or how can we avoid raising prices? They'll sort of keep it very quiet until buying season, until January time, February time. But they're telling us now you can expect a price rise, and some brands are actually saying you can expect it on anything you buy from Christmas.
Wow. Okay.
So it's happening, unfortunately, folks. If we could get around it, we would.
So get my order in now for anything ski boot related.
Yeah. So if you want your next year's boots, order them now, even if you don't have them fitted.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
go buy them and stick them in the cupboard.
Yes, I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Terrific. Wow, that's interesting. Let's start talking boots. We were talking about a proliferation of narrow-footed people. It's true to say that different boots suit different type of foot types. Are you able to expand on that a little bit?
Okay, so years ago, you probably hear, head make wide boots.
Yeah.
And you've got to have really narrow feet to have a lang boot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you get brands would be targeted with, they make boots for wide feet or narrow feet.
Mm-hmm.
Not the same anymore.
Okay.
What happens now is every brand will make, the easiest one to use is probably Atomic, because they have a family. The boots are in what they call the Hawks family. So you have the Hawks Ultra, which is their narrow fit, 98mm last.
That's narrow.
You've got that's 98 in a size 26. You've got to remember, these are only relevant to a size 26, 26.5 shell.
Okay.
As you go up or down, 2mm per size.
Okay.
So in the size 27, that would be a 100mm shell. In the size 28, would be 102.
Okay.
So it's proportional. But they have the Ultra, which is your 98. You have the Prime, which is the 100, and then you have your Magna, which is the 102. So you've got skinny, medium, and bucket.
Yeah.
And I call it a bucket. It's not fair to call it a bucket because it actually fits some feet. If you get a foot that looks like a house brick, then you need that big high volume boot.
Yeah.
But each brand has the same thing. So Lang have the same. They have the RX, low volume, the RX, and the LX.
Okay.
Yeah, they have an RS and a standard, so a 98 and 100.
Uh-huh.
And they make something at 102.
Yeah.
And what that does is that gives you the widths, but then you've got to consider the shapes. So a 98, you could take 5 98mm boots,
yeah,
and put them onto your foot in the same size, and they will all some will feel narrower than others.
Yeah.
And that comes down to the shape of the toe box and how the liner's constructed.
Okay.
So if you've got a square foot and you put it into a tapered boot, it will feel an awful lot narrower than putting it into a square shape or a rounded toe box.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's trying to find, that's why we have so many different models on the wall.
Yeah.
It's not that we like duplication, it's not that we like to have all the different brands, it's different foot shapes.
I understand. So it's not fair to these days, what you're saying, it's not fair to kind of cast and say, a head fits a wider foot. And,
absolutely. They make the head race boot, the new WCR, is a 92mm boot. It's one of the narrowest boots on the market.
Yeah.
But they also make a boot called the Edge, which is a 102. It's a good chunky 102 boot.
Yeah. So
it's one of the wider boots on the market.
Okay.
Every brand goes across the spectrum, but they can't afford not to. Yeah.
And then, so let's look at this from an instructor perspective, just regards to the brand. Like when someone comes into you and says, look, because my quest, and I've talked to you about this before when I was in the shop, is I'm always looking for, how would you say, like I'm looking for whatever the next level is. And maybe I found it, I don't know, but you don't know what you don't know. This is the other thing.
Absolutely.
So, I seem to have found a nice solution with a head Raptor 140 RS with a zip fit liner in it and some sort of custom footbed that old matey in Geneva made for me. And then that's kind of where I've settled. It seems to suit my feet. It's comfortable for long days on the mountain, but
gives you the performance you want.
Yeah,
The question always remains is what else is out there.
Oh yeah, because I've never wanted. Yeah, because you can't. It's hard to. Go on.
Over the past few years, technology in ski boots hasn't really changed. The only thing that's changed is, in my opinion, is probably the plastics. We're now getting a lot more moldable plastic shells. So you can always mold polyurethane. PU can be molded, end of. Yeah, whether it's molded with a heat gun and the boot stretcher, or whether it's molded with an additive in the plastic so that you get this malleable shell that can go into an oven. And I'm gonna jump back to Atomic there because they have their memory fit system. Now, like most ski boot manufacturers, when you're developing the ski boot, you're trying different things. Fisher, I think, going back years when they invented the plastic that happened to the vacuum boots. Yeah. What they were looking for was a blend of plastic that was very, very stable at different temperatures. Okay. So they were looking for temperature stability from plus 10 to minus 10, plus 10 to minus 20, whatever range it was in. Yeah. What they got was a fairly temperature stable boot, but something that was incredibly moldable. Right. So it's the additives that you put into the plastic, into the PU, that are there basically to try and create the flexibility or the stability in temperature that create the flexibility in terms of moldability in the boot. So that's that, and lighter weight. Now, light doesn't always mean good. No. I think light, there's a point of light is good for going uphill. Yeah. You want to save weight there. Yeah. But you then start to sacrifice when you come downhill. And you get, if you have a very light shell, and you have to make that light shell, to make that thin wall shell, you have to use a harder plastic. Yeah. When you have a harder plastic, you lose some of the rebound. When you lose rebound, you get this jittery. It's that first thing in the morning, that first run in the morning when you get frozen corduroy. Yeah. And you feel that vibration all the way through your legs. Yes. And you try not to put too much pressure onto the edge, because it's like you either have to really dig that edge in and make a turn, or you want to stand in a straight line, because when you have that sort of gliding turn and all you're getting is that vibration shooting up through your legs, giving you almost pins and needles up to your hips. It's that type of sensation that you get if you make the plastic too hard, too stiff, to make it thinner and lighter. Okay. So you lose the elasticity of the boot. I understand. And that's where the boot manufacturers are being really, really careful now. It's like oversized tennis rackets. When they came out, they were a massive head on them. Yeah. And then they mellowed back to what's accepted today. Same with shaped skis. Yeah. The original carbon skis had this massive hourglass shape to them. Yeah. And then they worked out that just by adding a little bit of rocker and changing the profile slightly and changing the core materials, you didn't need it to be quite so extreme. Yeah. Yeah. So the boot manufacturers all went out there to try and create the lightest possible thing, and then they've all pulled back a little bit from the lightest possible thing. Yeah, Matt, one of my colleagues, Matt. So I've been skiing in a 140 Raptor for as long as I can remember now. But one of my instructors, Matt, changed recently last year to some sort of head boot, I think it was, or maybe it was some brand. It was great. That's all I know about it. But it was incredibly light. And I was like, you can't be getting any performance out of that boot. It's like it doesn't have any substance to it. Like, how are you able to? You can still get performance, but you sacrifice some of that for that. It's basically a term, low modulus plastic. Right. Okay, so that when they make race boots, they make out thick plastic. That tends to be a low modulus plastic. It's a plastic that's got elasticity to it. Yeah. It stretches. The flex on a race boot isn't quite. It's a stiff boot, but it's got this travel to it, and it got rebound, and it comes back to you. That's where you have to engineer it in with the thin wall shells, the super lightweight shells. Having to engineer some of that rebound back into the boot. Okay. All right. But you can still get performance. You'll never see, I don't think we'll ever see super lightweight thin wall plastics in race. No. But in performance ski boots, there are, Head have got their Nexo RS, Atomic of the Ultra, the Hawks Ultra 130 skis really well, the new Salomon S-Max 130. They're all thin wall, lightweight boots when you compare it to a race boot. And they all still give a great level of performance. Yeah, yeah.
I think
when you notice, I think the difference for the vast majority of people, even ski instructors out there, if you are in a boot like the, let's use, you've got your head Raptor. Let's put that compared to the Nexo RS, their sort of top of the range performance boot without being race boot. The difference is when you go into if you're on an all-mountain ski, skiing even at high speed, you will get perfectly good performance.
Yeah.
Where you notice the differences is if you were to take a FIS GS ski.
Yeah.
Now, there's not many, unless you're doing a Euro test, why are you even bothering? You're competing, why are you doing this? But ski instructors do like to get on a race ski.
They do, yeah.
If you're on a full-blown race ski, what you notice, the difference is the torsional rigidity of the boot isn't there.
Okay.
So you can't get the same feeling to the edge.
Yeah.
So it's a torsional thing, it's a twist thing. So when you put that ski on the edge, it's a very, very powerful ski. You need a very, very powerful torsionally rigid boot to control it or to get the best from it.
I understand.
Not to say you can't ski on it, but you won't get the best from it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, my habit is...
I saw a picture the other day of a Formula 1 car with 4x4 tyres on it. I thought, yeah, it's kind of a compromise.
yeah. Well, it's about matching your kit, right?
Absolutely.
That's the other thing.
Matching it to what you're doing is... I don't think there's any need for people to have this quiver of 10 pairs of skis or 4 different pairs of ski boots, you know. It depends what you're doing.
Yeah.
There are a few things out there that will do everything pretty well. Or you say, well, you know what, I want a crossover boot or a touring boot to go up and ski the day that I go ski touring with my slightly wider, lighter ski with some skins on.
Yeah.
And I've got my race boot and my race skis for day-to-day cruising high speed down the piste.
Yes. It's
you know, you're old enough to remember straight skis, Dave, and when there was a powder day back in the 90s, what did you do?
Go straight.
You put your 205 slaloms, your 207 GS skis on and went skiing.
Yeah, that's right.
We didn't have an option back then. You know, the only thing that I think, the very first thing I remember is that I think it was a Volvo Fat Boy or something like that, which was the sort of realm of the heli ski operators, and everybody else just skied on slalom ski or GS ski.
Yeah.
Super skinny toothpick, you know.
There's a lot to be said for that. Anyway, I mean, I had some of the best powder days I had last year was on a Castle RX12, which is just 60 underfoot, 68 underfoot, 176 long. Just go straighter, right? Just go straighter and enjoy that.
You ski in the powder, not on the powder.
Yeah, I think look, I'm going to sound
the advent of these shaped wide skis. All it's really done is it's basically opened up the off-piste and the powder to people that some of them should be there, and there's certainly a few people that shouldn't be there. Yeah, it's taken away that sort of skill level that requires. You have to have that skill level to basically be in that environment. Yeah, and that's been taken away a little bit by that type of skis.
Well, without us trying to sound like old men shouting at the moon, like. Everyone does their own thing, but that's my preference. My preference is to take a thinner ski and be good on it rather than float on top. But I can totally understand that there are other people who prefer the other sensation of that sort of surfing sensation of being up on top of the snow. That's okay. But yeah, the thing that I don't like to do personally is I don't like to change boot. So it's not the only boots that I change in between is my Telemark boot and my Raptor. So I only have 2 pairs of boots. I don't have a specific lightweight touring set, and it's just because you kind of get used to having the same boot every day, and you put it on and you know how it fits, and that's that. And I don't want that change really, and that sort of how do you feel that change feeling on my feet going through the season. I just want the same pair of shoe each time, the same pair of boots each time. But that's just me. When can I? We've talked about advances in tech to do with plastics going lighter, ultralight, then coming back to a sort of a nice thing. What other advances in tech have we seen in boots over recent years?
I think the only real other thing is liners. The stock liner. I mean, you ski in a zip fit liner. I've skied in a zip fit liner since 1999, and it's one of these things. When you've gone to a custom liner, you're probably never going to go back to the stock liner in the boot. Enjoy it as much. Is that
what you do when you have a client come in who is seeking that perfect fit? You just take the stock liner out of any given boot just to round the bit?
It depends. Normally, the criteria I look at is how well is the foot being held in the boot and how much skiing they're doing. Yeah. If they are a 1 week a year skier, the chances of them actually needing a zip fit or something similar are pretty slim. So the option's always there. We talk about it if they want to talk about it, if they're in that market. But when somebody is skiing 3 or 4 weeks a year or more, that's when we start that discussion.
Yeah.
So we look at the usage, because a ski boot liner is designed to last approximately 120 skier days.
Oh, right.
Doesn't sound a lot. It's 20 weeks skiing. It's a full season.
Yeah.
Most people do not ski a full season.
No.
So it's a balancing game of that 20 weeks. So if you're only skiing 1 week a year, that boot's going to, in theory, going to last 20 years.
Yes.
Most people change their boots after sort of 8 to 10 years. But the theory behind it would be, if you're skiing 4 or 5 weeks, then your ski boot's only going to last you 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
To get that 20 weeks on. And the liners do break down, and they break down quite dramatically at first. Then they sort of stabilise. Then from about week 10 onwards, they start to go on their downward spiral. But if the boot fits well, if you've got a closer fitting boot, then that happens less.
Yeah.
Because your foot's not rattling, it's held well by the shell. The liner is just the filling, it's the insulation layer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the moves of technology increases in liners, they're definitely becoming more moldable. There's some plastic elements which are completely changeable and moldable inside liners now from a few brands. Mm-hmm. Salomon have a new 4D liner in some of their new boots. Head of Liquid Fit. Atomic have got Mimic, which is their liner with a plastic insert in it that basically grabs around the foot when it's molded. So there's technologies out there that are getting better. The insulation levels are getting better. You can now get thinner, better insulation, so you can get more of it into the liner, keep the feet warmer without taking up space. Yeah, there's a combination of things happening there. Or you've got the option of the aftermarket liners, but I think that's I usually use the amount of skiing somebody's doing and how well their heel is held in the boot.
Yeah.
As the sort of driving factor, do we look at a different type of liner?
Before we move on to this, I've just written down how you're able to kind of see how something fits, because I think that's immensely interesting. But just talk to me about the tongues that come with liners, because in that kind of Frankenstein liner thing that I'm doing for this year, I've just realised it's a CDAS liner. That's what it is. The CDAS liner, the tongue is not the same as a zip fit tongue. A zip fit tongue has got a much thinner profile and a wider profile. It's almost like
it's thinner and wider to spread the load.
Yeah, it's like a hockey kind of skate tongue. And all of the other liners I've ever had have got this kind of really hard, thin thing. And luckily the CDAS one, I just pulled it out and I put the zip fit tongue in, and maybe this is going to be the solution. But it's really interesting. I don't know why more tongues aren't like that in liners.
Cost.
Okay.
So the reason the zip fit tongue can be thinner is because the material inside it is a thin layer of padding material, and then the rest of it is made up of the OM fit, the cork ceramic clay blend goes in there.
Yeah.
So you've got a very, very good material at spreading load across a wider area. Okay. It doesn't have to be so thick to do that.
Yeah.
Because it contours to the leg, contours to the bone shape, the muscle shape.
Yeah, it's so good.
Whereas the foam in a traditional ski boot liner, you have a plastic layer on the outer side of it, and then you have layers of which is essentially furniture foam.
Yeah.
The stuff that's in your DFS sofa.
Okay.
And they layer that, or use some higher quality stuff, and they layer it in layers to basically create the cushion.
Yeah.
they also use it to take away volume.
Right.
So you can have tons of different thicknesses to remove volume or change the shape and the fit of a ski boot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the quality of what goes in there, and it has, at the end of the day, it has to be done at the price. Everybody complains that the price of ski boots is going up.
Yeah.
But there's this strange thing: you have to employ people to make them.
Yeah.
Salaries are going up.
Yeah.
The material costs are going up. So they're always looking for ways to, different price points on boot. You look at different flexes. As you go up the flex range, the price range goes up.
Yeah.
And generally, other than the plastic stiffness, the major difference is the liner quality.
Yeah.
So you pay a little bit more, you get a little bit more.
Yeah. That said, though, I'm looking at this from an instructor perspective. If you're skiing every week, every day of the season, like what price foot comfort, right?
Absolutely.
You cannot put a price on that, because you get, if you're skiing every day and you've even got one minor imperfection in your boot somewhere, that just compounds and compounds till you've got a really serious problem with your foot. So very much hope that you enjoyed the first half of this podcast with Colin. I certainly enjoyed making it and having this sort of long conversation with him to get really in detail about some of the stuff that he does, which I just find it absolutely fascinating. And I'm constantly kind of fiddling with my own kind of equipment and technique. Not technique. Well, certainly I'm fiddling with my technique, but certainly I am fiddling with my own setup. And my latest thing will be to put a 2mm riser under the toe piece of my binding, because I'm trying to stand generally a little bit taller this winter. And what I'm tend to be doing, because I've got quite flexy ankles, is that I tend to kind of hang and then ski with quite a straight back, and I want to take the pressure off of my lower back a little bit. So my latest kind of rabbit hole that I'm diving down is put a small riser under the toe piece of my binding, and to see if that makes me into a sort of a stronger body position from a skeletal point of view. So as soon as I get my drill back from Max, I'm going to be drilling those risers and then putting them under the toe piece. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so I got a little bit of feedback, which is really nice. Jamie Stevens emailed me or messaged me, I think, somehow. And Jamie, I think Jamie sent something to us before, but I've had a lot of nice chats with Jamie. He's a really nice guy. He says, "Hi Dave, been enjoying your podcast. I've been meaning to send you a picture of this book for a while. Not sure if you've heard of it before. We were talking about Ultimate Skiing by Ron LeMaster, which is an amazing book. If you haven't read it, you should. It's like a general encyclopedia for everything skiing. It's an absolutely extraordinary book from Ron LeMaster, who recently passed away, which is really unfortunate. Anyway, he goes on to say, Jamie goes on to say, I thought it sparked some new ideas in my skiing. I got it recommended to me by Paul Lorenz, which is cool. Anyway, he says, I'm really enjoying the podcast still. Especially the last episode with you and a few ski school directors, great inside knowledge. And the episode with John Olsen. I've always wanted to meet him and ski with him, so that was a great episode. Hope the season's treating you well. So thank you for that, Jamie. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for writing to me. It's always pleasing when people get in touch, which is great. It's just lovely to hear from people all around the world who are listening and kind of interested in what we've got to say. Okay, so on we go to part 2. We talk a little bit more about boots, boot fit, binding setup, that kind of thing in this in the second half. We even touch on how to do up boots, which is pretty cool, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I really, really appreciate all of you that are listening to this. I'm just amazed the number of people that download this podcast now, and I thank you all. If you're skiing, teaching, doing whatever, I hope that you enjoy it and that you're enjoying these extraordinary conditions that we're having this season. And I wish you well. Enjoy the second half of the podcast. so for me, getting that perfect fit on my feet it's really important.
And it is, that's the thing that I think, unfortunately, in most ski instructor training courses, there is no talk about equipment, or there's very minimal talk about equipment. And I remember doing a session at the Bicester Trainers Conference a few years ago at Hemel Hempstead, and just talking about boots, and most of the guys were sort of really, really receptive to it. And the pushback was, well, we don't have time. To talk about this. So I think it's such an important thing that ski instructors should know actually how to put a boot on. And so many ski instructors and so many people, whether it's a ski instructor, an athlete, a coach, or just a recreational skier, I see so many people putting their boots on incorrectly.
Oh yeah? Oh no, we should talk about this, because I do teach people how to do this, how to put a boot on properly, but maybe I'm teaching them wrong.
Well, I'm going back to the 80s when I was teaching on the dry ski slope in plastic. We had rear entry ski boots.
Yeah.
And some pretty terrible Salomon 444 bindings. And we had, when you had your first lesson, you went to the ski store with the instructor. This is a ski boot, this is how it goes on, this is how you close it. This is a binding, your toe goes in here, your heel steps down here. This is how you release it.
That's part of your job.
The curly bit of the ski goes to the front. But now I watch groups getting kitted up at some of these the new centres, and all I see is people go, they're sent to the ski hire counter on a size 7, they get handed a pair of boots, they get handed a pair of skis, and they look at them as if they've just stepped off another planet and go, okay, what do I do with these?
So what is the best way? Do you go top down or do you go bottom up?
I think top down is the way, but slightly modified. So I would always do the upper buckles first, but normally the ankle buckle first. Then the top buckle, then your power strap. Then give the boot a good flex, 2 or 3 flexes, and that's going to draw your heel into the back of the boot and give your toes more space. Then you're going to loosely clip the lower 2 buckles. But one of the key things, and we talk about this all the time with the boot manufacturers, is that loop on the top of the tongue is to help you pull the tongue to the side to put your foot in, not yank up on it straight forward. I've seen dealers pull a tongue, and these are good skiers, they're ski boot dealers that have been in the business for a lot of years, actually wrench the tongue out of a ski boot liner by trying to pull up on it to get into the boot.
That's not it.
Pull it to the side, gives you a much bigger hole to put your foot in, and then you push it down on top of the foot. The tongue's connected at the front of the liner, so if you pull up on that tongue, you do 2 things. Firstly, you pull the toes of the liner back towards your foot and makes the boot feel too short. And secondly, it creates a void area in front and above your instep. So where your instep and your leg meet, it creates a void area there. It pulls the tongue away from the foot there, and that allows you to slide forward in the boot. So you've got this double whammy of making the boot feel short and then being able to jam your toes in the front of it.
That's amazing. Okay. That's I've learned 2 new things already today, so I'm pretty pleased with that. But so I take you back to the days when I was working with a guy called Ernest, and he was always a great advocate. He was like, check your kids' boots before you start any lesson. Do a boot check. It's the most important thing, because you can make massive improvements to people skiing just by having their boots done up.
Boot on the left foot is usually a really good start.
Well, there is that. You'd be surprised how many times I've seen that.
You'd be surprised how many. I'm not surprised at all. Never surprised by people doing dumb things.
But I go into the boot. I slide the heel up and down 2 or 3 times just to make sure it's put in the thing. So I sort of take the liner up and down, and then what do I do? Top 2 buckles, power strap, and then the bottom 2, and then I go skiing. So I do the toe one up, but I leave the one across the top of the forefoot quite loose until I'm warmed up.
Absolutely.
Only then I tighten it.
Settle back into the liner.
And so my boots are reasonably loose for the first maybe run or 2 of the morning, and then once the feet have settled down into the boot, then you can really start to tighten them up, and then they don't go dead. Your feet don't get that kind of pins and needles if you tighten them too long, tighten them too early, I should say. Okay, how are you able? Right, this is the miracle, I think, of boot fitters, is that you have the ability to sort of see what we're feeling when we have the the feet in the boots, like you can sort of tell how they fit. Does that come from experience, or is there some sort of special tricks that things that you can see that we can't?
It comes from a lot of time fitting ski boots. Mm-hmm. This is where I think some of the problem comes. Is you can go on a course, spend $500 and get a certificate that says Master Ski Boot Fitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I dare say, you go out there teaching skiing. You've got years of teaching skiing experience. Your first, you qualified in your first lesson. It was probably very different to the lesson you would give today. It
was a lot more frantic, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're constantly on your. So I've always said it takes 10 years on the bench to make a ski boot fitter, and that's 10 years of fitting constantly, not just doing a couple of pairs here and there. It's 10 years of 10 seasons of good work.
Yeah.
And we have this argument all the time. The guys in resorts say, you can't be a ski boot fitter and not be in the mountains. And I think sometimes you have to be better when you're not in the mountains, because when you're in the mountains, in the resort, it's really easy for the customer to come straight back and get an adjustment done.
Yeah.
So you almost have to be more precise being in a city shop. We'll call it a city shop rather than in the UK, or it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
And it's about how you go about shell selection and how you go about making adjustments and what things are happening. Comes down to when we get a new model of boot into the store, I will try it on. Everybody in the store tries it on, and you try it on in your measured size.
Yeah.
One size down, one size up.
Okay.
Okay, so you try on 3 pairs of boots for the same one.
Yeah.
And the reason we do that is your measured size. Often the ski boot manufacturers these days make boots too long.
Okay.
They're designed for 1 week a year's use, recreational skier. They want that fluffy comfort. But if you put your foot into that and you see that you've got this massive amount of space, then let's try a size down and see where things go.
Okay.
So you can change the performance ratio on the boot quite easily that way without crippling somebody. It's not about downside. I hate the term downsizing. We use a right sizing.
Yeah.
Because it's getting somebody the right size for their foot. So you try the small one, you try the one you measure, you try the bigger one. And the reason we try the bigger one is basically to see what the average skier is going through in that boot, because most of the people we see have been skiing in boots too big.
Okay. Yes, that's the common thing, right?
I can then take that shape of boot on my foot. Okay, it feels narrow to me here, it feels wide to me here, and I take that experience and translate it to my customer's foot. So my customer's got the same width of foot as me, and that boot felt a little bit too wide in that area. When they're telling me it feels narrow, there's something going on.
Yeah.
Is it something biomechanical that's going on? Is it a stance issue? Is it just they have this intolerable sensation? They do not like, there's no tolerance to compression or sensation around the foot.
Yeah.
So you start with my foot versus their foot. My foot in that boot, how does that feel? Their foot in that boot versus my foot. So their foot's lower than mine, they shouldn't have any instep pressure. Their foot's narrower than mine, they shouldn't have any forefoot pressure, etc. And you work your way around the boot that way.
Okay. But it's born from actually physically putting yourself into that boot. Just physically
putting your feet into boots, trying on every boot in the store. Now, I certainly wouldn't want customers to try on every boot in the store, because they confuse themselves, and within half an hour they'll be just wanting to try between 4 different boots, and you can spend hours just trying backwards and forward. Oh, that one feels better there but not there.
Yeah, you end up with
you have to we normally narrow it. Normally we pull one boot to start with, or we might have a second option. It's rare that we get to a third option. Third option is probably because you've misread something.
Yeah.
And if you got more than that, there's something gone wrong.
But you're presumably at the stage now where you can say to someone, right, pull your sock off, and you know, based on what you can see,
what's going to work.
Yeah.
And everybody's tolerance to compression, we go back to this fit tension or tolerance to compression, everybody is slightly different.
Okay. But I mean, I think it isn't one of the things that people seek comfort, but ski boots are supposed to be tight, otherwise you can't have that precision that you're looking for with the ski, right? Like they're
absolutely.
That's really tight but not uncomfortable.
Correct. It's about this firm, equal pressure around the foot. It's like a firm handshake, but equally around the foot. The pressure points are where the tools come in, is where the adjustments come in.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem we see is you put somebody into the correct size boot, you've shell checked them, you've looked at how much space there is, you looked at the shape of the foot, you put them in. The first thing that happens when they go into that boot is their toes touch the front. And we always warn people, when you go into this, your toes are going to hit the front of it. It's a brand new ski boot. Don't panic yet.
Yeah, okay.
Because if you don't say that simple line is what saves boot sales. And saves people end up. Because if you don't say that, they put their foot in, the toes hit the front.
It's too small.
And these boots are too small.
Yeah.
These boots are too small. And it doesn't matter what you do from then on, those boots are too small.
Yeah.
They could be the right size. They could be 2 sizes too big, but the toes have hit the front.
Yeah.
That boot's too small. And that's where people end up with a boot that's too big. It compromises the fit. It's a bit like trying to drive the car with the seat too far back and the steering wheel loosened.
Yes. Okay. So then presumably once you've got that person's foot out and you see it and you kind of got them in the boot and you see some pressure there or here, there and everywhere, where are the common pressure points that you see that you're going to have to then go to work with the Dremel? Like what are the ones you're doing the most?
The first thing is the grinder comes out on race boots and very seldom on anything else.
Yeah.
Because the wall thickness on most recreational boots now is too thin to get the grinder onto.
Is that
or
true?
You're going to have some pretty quick air conditioning.
Okay, so you stretch then, do you?
We then use a stretcher. Well, the first thing is get the foot stable.
Yeah.
If that foot is not stable and in the right position using your footbed, then the foot's splaying and twisting inside the boot. That gives a false impression. So we can try that using an off-the-shelf insole, or we can sometimes go straight away into the custom insole, and then we make the modification to the boot.
Can I just ask you about that? Because presumably there is a whole bunch of people who say that the foot should be able... Is there a difference between stabilising the foot and the foot being able to kind of move around naturally as it would like to do?
Okay, I know exactly who you've been speaking to or reading up on.
Well, you probably haven't, because I'm thinking of the kind of the primal health movement, who are all about kind of walking around barefoot or in those
barefoot. The barefoot thing.
Yeah,
I think barefoot for training. And this is barefoot running. You notice that's disappeared. It's kind of really gone.
It kind of has, isn't it? Yeah.
I think if you've got some soft terrain like grass,
Yeah.
And you're a runner, you go run on it once a week, get the muscles in your feet waking up, get all the proprioceptive sensors waking up and moving. Mm-hmm. When we control the foot in a ski boot, we're not looking to block movement. This is, I think, there's been too much confusion about how it's sold or how it's talked about.
Yeah.
It's not about blocking movement. What we do basically is we stabilize the rear foot, and we allow the foot to flex.
Okay.
And depending on the tolerance, this is about tolerance again, and foot flexibility. Mm-hmm. If you have somebody that's a very rigid foot, some foot types are very rigid, some that are very, very flexible. Mm-hmm. A flexible foot can generally tolerate a more rigid insole.
Okay.
A more rigid foot can't tolerate a rigid insole. It wants to be able to collapse a little. It needs to be able to have some flexibility under it. Mm-hmm. We always want to stabilize, but stabilizing that heel bone, because if you don't, the heel bone spits itself to the lateral side of the boot. The ankle hits the inside edge, ankle and navicular hit the inside. The little toe gets smashed into the outside of the boot as the foot tries to pronate and escape from the boot. Mm-hmm. So you have to control it, but it's about using the correct level of flexibility. And that's why we offer in store here, we've got 3 different brands of insole, not just 3 different custom insoles, 3 different brands of custom insole. And from those 3 different brands, I can have something that is really, really rigid, something which is medium rigid, I can have something which is soft as, just depending on what I use and how I layer it and how I build up the back of it.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where a lot of shops go wrong, is they have they either sell Superfeet or Sidas or Instaprint or Boot Talk. They pick one brand as their custom insole, and that's all they sell.
Okay.
And initially, when I started the business, that's kind of what I did. I had one brand.
Yeah.
Now, I had some different products within that brand that gave me a little bit of flexibility, and I knew how to work those products to give me changes in flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
But now having all the different brands, or 3 different brands of custom insole, gives me more flexibility for my clients.
Yeah. Okay. To be fair, Geneva Man made me mine. He custom made it, which is pretty cool. Okay, so then, so mainly with retail clients, you're sort of stretching them, but then you might have someone like me who comes along, wants a fairly stiff flex boot. He's a big guy, and you have to get the Dremel out and make some holes for in the boot where
bone spurs and things like that.
Yeah, that kind of weirdness, like that presumably is. But that you say you only do really on kind of more race boots and your races.
You grind. The reason you grind, you've got the material. Race boots were always designed with big, thick plastic walls.
Yeah.
So the boot you've got, the RS, is not the thickest. It's probably got 5mm wall thickness around the outside of the foot, 4 or 5mm. Okay. So you can still grind away a couple of millimeters of that, and that a millimeter is a mile.
Yeah.
When it comes to ski boots, all you want to do is you want to take the pressure off that bone and let the fleshy area of the side of the foot share the pressure along it. It's about distribution of pressure.
Okay. With you. And how do you then, because I remember we were doing all sorts of stuff, I think it was with lipstick, right? But it's like how, you're just sort of marking up my foot and seeing where it was.
So you basically have the foot in the shell on the insole, get it positioned where it should be. We often use a flat layer under the insole just to pick you up for the bottom of the liner, so it's because the height is critical in some adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll have the shell open, and I'll mark it lipstick transfer, or I'll use a wax pencil or even an ink marker on the inside. I'll just draw around the area I want to modify.
Yeah.
So where do I need to work? It's there, right, little mark. I know I can either stretch that or grind that depending on the boot.
Yeah.
They both adjustments achieve the same thing, is create space for that lumpy bit of bone.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes you have, on the race boot, you have to grind and stretch.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't grind far enough, on the modern thin wall plastics, you generally stretch because the wall thickness is up, maybe only 2 or 3 millimeters in places.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take a lot of grinding to go right through that shell, and you haven't created any more space than you thought you had.
Yeah. Okay. Now what if I ski the same boot because it seems to work for me, but if we were starting again fresh, what is it that I should be looking for in a boot, really?
It's that firm hold around your foot. Obviously, we've got to think about the flex of the boot.
Yeah.
So for what you're doing. The next thing we've got to think about is your biomechanics, because if you've got a limitation in your ankle joint dorsiflexion, the ability to bend your ankle, and that's probably the biggest problem that ski boot fitters see these days, is people, they sit at a desk all day, or they're cyclists and they don't stretch.
Yeah.
So the fascia and the muscles in the calf tighten up, and we end up with a very, very rigid foot which doesn't want to flex at the ankle. So for that foot, the first thing I need to find is a boot which is more upright.
Okay.
Because if you can only bend your foot through X degrees, you need a boot where you can get power to the ski, or pressure to the tongue of the boot to get power to the ski before you run out of range of motion.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Right. So on that person, you'd want something with a fairly upright cuff.
You want a more upright cuff. You want a stiffer boot as well. So if, let's say they were your average skier, that they needed they're a good recreational skier, they needed a 110 flex boot would be the kind of the ideal for their body weight, and you see this limitation in flexion, I would be looking for the upright shell and possibly go to a 120 flex. Okay. So that they get it's stiffening and lowering the suspension in the car again, you get a quicker reaction.
Okay.
So they're unable to press against that and let that boot flex forward. Yeah. The last thing I want is a boot which is too soft. This years ago was commonplace. If you're not getting forward, you need a softer boot. Mm-hmm. And needing a softer boot, all that happened then was the boot would collapse forward. Yeah. The skier's heel would come off the ground, and they couldn't get forward anyway. So all they would do is basically just drop their hips back.
So why wouldn't you have a boot for someone like that? Why would you not ask them to be in a boot that has slightly more forward lean? Not so much
their ankle doesn't allow them to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that a problem to be solved instead of solving it with the boot?
I just lost you there, Dave.
No, it's all right. Isn't that a problem that...
I'm losing your signal, Dave.
Okay, hang on. Let me know when it comes back. Can you hear me now?
We're back in the room.
All right. Isn't that a problem with them that they need to solve through stretching rather than solving it with the boot?
Very much so.
Okay.
Very much a problem that they need to solve. Unfortunately,
yeah, they don't.
When you're dealing with the great skiing public, and I love them all to bits, or most of them anyway, there is this want for instant gratification, instant comfort.
Yeah. And
if you have got a limitation in your biomechanics, then it's not always possible to get that instant comfort instantly. Yeah. We've got a testimonial on our website from a guy who spent 3 weeks working on a foam roller.
Yeah.
Just stripping the fascia and stretching and basically working on the areas he needed to work on because he listened and took on the advice. And because of that, he wrote the testimonial that said it's taken away pain that he's had in ski boots for over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So you really can, if you've got that person, the individual with the flexibility, you really can change, I wouldn't say change their life, but it is essentially changing their life.
Yeah.
By getting the flexibility back. You know, none of us are fit to ski unless we ski all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And cycling, I think cycling's a real classic because cycling builds that repetitive motion. It's that it's a single plane of motion. You're constantly building those muscles and tightening everything in the structure.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying cycling's a bad thing. Cycling's a great thing. You want to get out of the bike, get out of the bike, but understand that you're tightening muscle groups. Potentially, and some people are just flexible, some people are not.
Yeah.
But if you're tightening those muscle groups up, you've got to think about making the flexibility, getting the range of motion, so that you're not having the problems in the ski boot, because there's several problems that come just from that tightness of ankle joint.
Yeah, yeah. They're talking of this. I just the other night I sent a message to the group of football guys that I play with, and I remember when you used to be able to turn up at football. Just play, and then you go out for a whole bunch of beers and a curry and not have to stretch or anything like that. And now I've arrived at a point in my life where I have to do this sort of terrible old man warm up before I play, and then get home and stretch for half an hour. And I'm stretching every night of the week these days, and I'm just what happened? When did this become a thing?
Two things in life that we can't control: age and gravity.
Oh God, it's a nightmare. It just makes me feel so old. It's terrible. But anyway, okay, fair enough. And so, but then presumably you've got people that are the opposite. So people like me who have got hyper flexible ankles, as I've noticed actually with a lot of ski instructors have the same thing, that we have very, very flexible ankles. But so presumably you want a boot with a reasonable level of forward flex to match that. Do you?
So with something with a flexible ankle, a really flexible ankle, the key is to engage the Achilles tendon and the calf muscles. You've got to get them to engage. If they're not doing anything, there's no pressure going to the ski. There's no power. There's no rebound. So we want that, perhaps slightly more forward lean in the boot.
Yeah.
So average, maybe a 15 degree rather than a 12 degree.
Yeah.
And sometimes you lower the heel. So there's also, you hear people putting heel lifts. And heel lifts are like paracetamol in the ski boot industry. They shouldn't be used half the time they're used.
Yeah.
You should a heel lift should only really be used when somebody has a limitation in flexion. It's not really a heel lift. It's bringing the ground up to meet the foot in the ski boot to try and open the ankle joint.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a flexible person, you might put somebody that's rigid. You might put a 6 millimeter heel lift in.
Yeah.
A really hyper flexible person, we might actually drop the heel in the boot, maybe 1 or 2 millimeters. That's the equivalent in opposite terms.
Yeah.
Because we want to basically flatten out that and engage that Achilles tendon, engage the rear muscles of the leg, and let the ski get some pressure.
That's interesting.
Because until there's some engagement, you're just going to flop forward and hang.
Yeah. Okay. And but you presumably you can do that also with the binding, can't you?
No. It's different. So inside the boot, you're dealing with what we call ramp angle and forward lean.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with the binding, you're dealing with binding delta. So you're tipping the internal angle doesn't change of the boot.
Yeah.
But you're either raising the heel or raising the toe.
Yeah.
So it will change pressure, it will change the amount of pressure to the ski and how the ski is loading, but the actual internal angle, the net forward lean angle, doesn't change when you do it externally.
Okay, I'm with you. I've noticed some very, very big differences in skis that I've had over the years from that delta angle that's been created in the
that delta
binding.
is absolute massive changes.
Yeah, it does make a huge difference. You know, I've skied some stuff on, say, I think a look binding that's had, you know, almost up to like an 8mm difference between toe and heel. And I skied pretty well on, I think, about a 4mm difference, you know, between toe and heel.
Yeah, so it's finding that balance. There's an awful lot of people. What you always notice is the same people when you go to ski test, big industry ski test at the end of March, beginning of March rather, and you'll find the same people every year like a particular product. Because so they like all the skis that have got that loop binding on them.
Yeah, of course.
Binding.
Yeah.
They like that because that setup suits them. Yeah. Then you got others that hate those skis but love all the skis that have got the completely flat binding, and maybe the Salomon or whatever binding it is. Yeah. And they blame the ski.
Yeah, imagine how many bad
reviews. The ski's rubbish, it doesn't engage, it doesn't do this.
Yeah.
It's not the ski, it's the binding.
No.
Because you know what? There really aren't that many bad skis out there. If you took all the skis that are £500 a pair and put them side by side and they all had a completely flat binding on them, or they had the binding that you liked, so either a completely flat one or one with a load of ramp in it, whatever one it was, all those skis would ski relatively well to you.
Yes. Yeah.
The reason that people don't like skis is because the setup isn't right for them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I've been thinking that for a while.
And it's knowing that setup, knowing that balance, and you know that I need a flat deck ski, I need something that's got a flat binding or 1mm forward ramp angle, delta rather. On there. That works for me. Right, great, go.
Yeah. Because presumably also you're going to have clients that go out to the Alps with just their boots and they hire skis, right?
Hire skis, absolutely.
And then they'll go, oh, these boots aren't, they weren't doing what I thought they were doing. But then you say, well, what ski were you using?
You can't control. That's the thing. We can control the environment in the shop.
Yes.
We can't control the environment when they get out on ski.
Yeah.
They get out on the mountain, and the first thing they do is they go out and have a ton of beer the first night, and they then clamp their boots up too tight, or they walk to the lift with their boots unclipped.
Yeah.
And by that point, if you've unclipped, you leave all your clips undone in your ski boot, and it's a fitted ski boot, and you walk the 100 yards to the lift, then your toes are smashed into the front of the boot.
Yeah, yeah.
They then clip them up from the front, so the toes remain smashed into the front of the boot. And then they wonder why they can't ski.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a constant battle.
Yeah. No, when you see people slopping around in ski boots in resort, I'm like, why are you doing that? It's actually easier to walk when they're done up. Yeah. It's very strange.
It's amazing. If you get somebody into a pair of ski boots that's always been in rental or always been in the boot too big, and clip the boot up properly and watch them walk, they can walk much more normally, much more naturally.
Yeah.
And forget this whole grip walk thing that's coming along, which is causing all sorts of chaos. Forget that. It's a question that was never asked, being solved.
Okay.
And look at what's happening just with people walking in the ski boot. And if you're in the right boot, we constantly have customers going, oh, this is really easy to walk in. Well, yes, they should be. It's not like your trainers, but it shouldn't be difficult to walk in.
No, not if they're fitted properly. I said one of that grip walk might solve one issue. There's a small slope that leads down to the crossing across to the bakery in Morjan. I'm trying to walk down that any time between January and February before the sun gets to it. It's sheet ice all the time. I'm trying to walk down that with
grip walk does not solve that problem.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good because I thought it was just me.
You believe me, you can still go on your ass whilst wearing a boot with grip walk sole.
I thought it was just me with a flat-soled bottom, Raptor just scooting down the slope going.
It might make it marginally easier for you, but it doesn't solve the problem.
It's easy to walk around the ice. That's a pro tip for everybody. Tell me a little bit. We talked about recreational adults. We've talked a little bit about pros and what they should be looking for. Talk to me a bit about kids' boots, because I see often kid rental boots that are terrible and they're just inhibiting the kids' ability to ski. I'm thinking specifically of those kind of 3-buckle boot that's got the 90-degree angle, and it's just, the kid's already got his balance back a little bit because he's a kid. Like, what I presumably you don't fit. I mean, are there many people buying kids' boots?
We don't sell. We sell junior or youth race boots.
Okay.
But we don't do kiddie boots, if you like. And the reason we don't do it is because you'd end up with there's so little you can do to them because of the quality of the plastics.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you end up with the family will book an hour-and-a-half long appointment to fit little Johnny's boots, and well, it's going to take you 20 minutes.
Okay.
So you'd be out of business pretty quick if that's what you focused on.
Okay.
Because they're cheap. They're cheap for a reason. They're cheap for a reason that basically they're only going to get used once or for one season, and they're going to go on the skip or get sold on.
Yeah.
They're cheap because the brands don't want to spend a shed load of money on them because mold costs are expensive.
Yeah.
The plastics they're using polypropylene plastic, which is generally a cheaper, lower quality plastic, which doesn't stretch or doesn't look nice, doesn't bend well. Mm-hmm. And the next thing is parents want them to grow into.
I've heard this. And that doesn't work.
His feet are still growing. He needs to grow into them. No, he doesn't. He needs to grow out of them.
Yeah.
We won't sell, or we err on the side of if there was somebody who was between sizes and it was a growing foot, then I'm going to err on the bigger size, not the smaller size.
Yeah.
If they're an athlete competing, I still get parents who, 15-year-old athletes, my daughter's feet are going to grow. No, they're not. They stopped growing when she was 13 years old.
Yeah.
She's been the same boot size for the last 3 pairs of boots that we sold her. Oh, but she'll grow. No, she won't.
Is that a thing? Kids stop. What age do feet stop growing?
It's a real difficult, and it varies from person to person, but on average we see the guys it's probably 14, 15, the girls 13, 14.
Seriously?
Younger than you think.
So that's your feet are done at that age?
Physical length won't generally change much. Really? There's exceptions. There's always exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
But guys tend to be a little bit older than the girls when their feet stop growing.
Yeah.
But it is that parents thing that I know exactly why they're doing it. If you're sending your kid to race academy for the year, you're going to be spending a load of money.
Yeah.
And the one thing you think, I can make the boots last 2 years because their feet will grow. You get the bigger boot, then you end up with this imbalance thing. And even the young kids, it's the imbalance. They're thrown into the back seat straight away.
Yeah.
They just don't have the power. They don't have the muscles in their legs to get them forward.
A lot of kids are in overflexed boots as well, aren't they? They're
overflexed, oversized.
Yeah. It's not easy to ski in.
And the same thing, if you have it doesn't matter the flex of the boot. If the boot's too big, you don't bend it properly because you're not actually in the shaft of the boot properly.
Yeah.
So if you can't bend it, then what do? You just drop your butt back.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, that's really interesting. So kids are a little bit like those dogs you see when you've got a puppy dog and it's going to grow into a really big dog and they've got massive paws, but the rest of them haven't. So
they're going to grow into its paws.
Okay. So you can tell how tall a kid is going to be by their feet are. Oh, that's it. I'd never known that. That's amazing. Huh. All right. Things you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. How much do you get involved in matching skis to bindings to boots for those real pro athletes and people who really want to?
On the race side, they tend to they want to be on the same brand.
Yeah.
So there'll be a sponsorship deal, or they want to be, I want to be on that brand, therefore I want that boot. And in race boots, they're all fairly similar. Mm-hmm. So you can get a fairly good fit on all of them. If they fit into one, they'll fit into most.
Yeah.
But there are differences. If you take somebody with a skinny leg, then the cuff of the atomic boot or the Dalbello boot will work better than the cuff that's on the head or the Lang, which has got much more volume.
I'm with you. Okay.
But in general terms, the race boot clog, the lower of the boot, is fair. There are differences, but they're fairly similar.
And presumably workable, right?
Yeah, and they're so workable. Yeah, you can spend a lot of time with the grinder, but you can make a lot of change.
Okay, interesting. All right. I'm well aware that you've got to be, you've probably got clients waiting for you at the shop. So I'm going to make this my last question. But I'm curious to know, like back in the, I think it was 80s or 90s, you used to have those kind of, I think I'll get the name right, like
Rightly flex on.
Yeah, and those eventually, they seem to be, I've looked at the old ones, and they seem to be pretty much what the full tilt boot is these days.
Exactly.
What
they are.
Presumably that design is still around. The freestylers seem to like it. What was so good about that particular design?
So when Rightly developed that boot in the 80s, it's a boot that won more downhill medals than any other boot back in that era.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked very, very well for downhill because it was a really, really elastic. You think of a bendy drinking straw.
Yeah.
That's how the tongue worked.
Okay.
So it bent without any deformation of plastic.
Okay.
It bent like a bendy drinking straw.
Mm-hmm.
And Rightly was saved by the Swiss banks several times. It was bought out. The boot was bought out by Nisel.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's various stories behind it. The banks basically stepped in and did various things, but somebody, the owner of the factory or the owner of the business died. His wife didn't get left anything in his will because they just got divorced or something. There was some messy argument. Right. The wife went in and trashed the factory and tried to destroy everything. The molds got rescued, and eventually the whole thing, when Nisel went bankrupt, the molds got bought by K2.
Right.
Basically, K2 Sporting Goods owned Full Tilt.
Okay.
So they bought this because back at the end of its era in its Rightly Nisel form, the boot was used by all bump skiers again because it had that available range of motion in it. It didn't distort, the plastic didn't distort, and it basically just flexed in a really nice way for a bump skier.
Yeah.
So they bought this and then reincarnated it Full Tilt as the freestyle boot, and I think they alienated their original market.
Yeah.
Because their original market was that really skinny-footed, skinny legs, needed a spiral wrap liner in it, wanted it in black with a yellow tongue or black, all black.
Yeah.
And then when they started putting sort of punk graphics all over it and freestyle and making it the park boot, those people went away and said, I don't want that. It's the same boot, but I don't want that.
Yeah.
So it is a design which is near on 40 years old. I think it might even be 40 years old at the moment.
And but presumably
it's still going.
I've looked at it a couple of times and I'm wondering, I wonder if that is I'm interested to try that boot. I've known some very, very good skiers, and not just bumps or freestylers, very good skiers who love that style of boot with that sort of...
The Cambrio design boots, the 3-part shell, basically, is a different... The boot flexes in a different way, it fits in a different way. It's got some challenges, it's got some good things in terms of sometimes for fitting people. If you have somebody with an arthritic ankle, for example, that can't get into a traditional ski boot, it can help with that.
Yeah. Or ski instructors who just want to get in their boots real quick in the morning.
Yeah, things like that, yeah.
Okay. Isn't that, though, the biggest... So let's say I'm interested in this boot, right? Or others... Isn't that the biggest issue with the ski industry with regards to boots? I can go and try any kind of ski that I want to try, but I can't go out and try any kind of boot that I want to try. There are no demo boots kicking around.
In the US, there's a couple of places that do that. They I don't think they rely on getting it right. You got to get it right the first time, and then they possibly allow a demo of the boot. And if you really don't like it, bring it back to us. We'll change it. And whether that boot then goes into their demo pool, or whether it's into rental, or whether it gets sold to the next guy for $50 off, or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a couple of resort places in the US that do it, but not very many at all. It is just there's too many variables.
Well, that's the issue with boots, isn't it? Because you take a pair of boots out, the amount of work that you're really going to have to do to make a boot really fit very well for you, even before you leave the shop, is quite a lot of work. And
so you've got to get your foot bed, you've got to get the stance set up correct, you've got to make the adjustments sometimes. And I always people get this whole thing about you modify all the boots you sell. No, we don't. We probably, less than 50% of the boots we sell actually go into the workshop.
Oh yeah?
For boot stretchers to go into them.
Really? So
sometimes all you actually need, because feet are all different, but they're similar in a lot of dimension.
Yeah.
And ski boots are basically, we've got that many options on ski boots now that you can find a boot which will fit most people without major work.
Yeah.
Unless they've got something really bad going on.
Yeah.
And the key for that is getting people into the correct size of boot, the correct forward lean, the correct flex, shape and size, getting the foot properly stabilized or supported in that boot so it's got the relevant insole for their flexibility. Yeah. And for the most part, say 50% of the boots, probably that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Set up the cuff, check the cuff alignment. That person can go away skiing have no problems.
Yeah.
And then you'll get the guy that has the big bunion that has to go to the workshop and get the stretch done on it, or the grinds. Race boots, obviously, because they're much narrower fitting than your recreational boots, so they need more work. And then you'll always get that odd anomaly where you look at the foot and you go, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that can't be going wrong, and it just, whatever you do, it still hurts here, or here.
Yeah. So the key really, if you're thinking, or you like the look of a different boot, or you're thinking of changing boots, you really need to go and see an expert.
It's horrible. We say this. Everybody complains when we write it on internet forums and things. People ask the question, I'm thinking about a new boot. What do you recommend?
Yeah.
And they get really, really hissy with you when you say, go and see a boot fitter.
Yeah.
Because they're, unfortunately, like every industry, there are good ski instructors and there are bad ski instructors.
Mm-hmm.
There are good boot fitters and there are bad boot fitters. And if you've had the experience of the bad one, then chances are you think all boot fitters are the same.
Yeah.
If you've been to that chain store that couldn't fit you into a pair of boots, or that resort store that basically forced you into something that was too big in the past, then your opinion of that entire industry is based on that experience.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, that gives us a nice segue into the end, because if you do want to go and see the best boot fitter in the UK, I can't say Switzerland because I know the man around the other side of Geneva, and he's pretty good, Colin.
You guys in Switzerland have got some reasonable guys. You go to the right places.
That's true.
But I think that's the same the world over. You would think, I always talk about something like France or Austria. You would think it's a skiing nation.
Yeah.
They would have hundreds of really good boot fitters. But
that's not true. No.
They have a few really good boot fitters and an awful lot of guys that do it because that's their job.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to know the name of my secret guy, they can, and obviously if they're out in Europe, fine. But if you're in the UK, you need to go and see Colin. That's for sure.
You can see Keith. I've got Keith here. He's been with us coming up 3 years now. Has 35 years experience fitting ski boots. So
I meant to ask you about that.
He's pretty handy with a footbed,
I meant to ask you about that because you were telling me last time I was with you. It was a long time ago because I've obviously haven't been able to travel back for a while. But you were telling me it's impossible to find people. That want to.
Good staff is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
There are lots of boot fitters out there, or people claiming to be boot fitters. If you've worked one season somewhere doing a little bit of boot fitting, you're not a boot fitter. But there's not many of them around. And then I think it's seen as by a lot of people as a transient job. Yeah. You do it for a couple of seasons, then you go and get a proper job.
What about apprentices though? There must be. Are there not any young keen fellas around Bicester, guys and girls around?
If you find somebody that really wants to learn, I've got a guy who came and did a season with us a few years ago. He's now heading up a boot shop in Canada, doing a really, really good job.
Okay.
And involved with some pretty out there development within the ski industry. But people have got to have the passion for it. They've got to be keen skiers. They've got to be people that want to do the job.
Yeah.
And generally, the problem has always been the past. And maybe I hate to bring the B word into it, but maybe Brexit will change this. Is in the past, these people wanted to be in a ski resort.
Yeah.
So they go and do their season in a ski resort. Now that's going to be slightly more complex than it has been in the past. But maybe they'll, if they want to learn the trade, they'll do it in the UK or in their home country, if you like.
Yeah.
There are courses that you can do. You can learn. You learn most of it on the job, doing it.
Yeah.
Over a period of time.
But
to find people that have been doing it for a while that you actually trust to do it, it's hard.
What's it like as a business owner? Do you get? I'm in CV season at the moment, so I'm getting all sorts of CVs from people who want to come and teach with my ski school. By the way, pro tips: if you're applying to me for a job, one, don't copy me on a mass email that you've sent to everybody else. Two, personalise your email a little bit, and secondly, learn how to spell. Those three things will get you at least halfway through the door.
That's like sponsorship requests.
Oh my God.
We get sponsorship requests from the mother or the father for their 15-year-old kid. And I'm like, well, if your 15-year-old kid can't actually send me an email, bye.
I know. But what I was going to get to is presumably though, do you have any enterprising young men and women who kind of write to you asking to learn the trade, or?
It's rare, and I think some of that is location, because Bicester is seen as sort of you're out in the sticks. We're not really out in the sticks. We're less than an hour from London. Yeah. But we're not in London. We're not in the city.
Yeah.
And there's not many people live around here that. There's plenty of skiers live around here, but that want to actually you kind of limit your market slightly by having a smaller population around you.
Yeah.
Because they have to move here, and the ski industry, as we all know, is notoriously poorly paid. And we try and pay our staff pretty well. We're certainly at the high end of what anybody pays in the ski industry.
Uh-huh.
But it's really difficult to find those people. We get the odd person. But normally, as you say, you get the CV season starts, and you get this sort of plethora of things that come in. I think the last one out was before COVID. The last one I had come through to me was laughable. He left his CV attached to the letter, and it came in. And what he was looking to do was come and learn to be a ski boot fitter before he went to go and do his ski season in December.
All right. Okay.
So he wanted to start in September, work with us for 3 months, learning everything, then disappear off for the ski season. Yeah. Well, that kind of doesn't really work for me. I kind of want you here.
Yeah.
But it was almost like, I really don't know what I want to do, but I don't want to flip burgers this week. It was not the right kind of person.
Goodness me. Yeah. I don't know. Right. Okay, so look, everyone who comes on here gets a chance to plug themselves. So where can people come to find you if they want to get
where can you find us? Find us at Solutions4Feet, number 4 in the middle of it. It's Solutions4Feet.com. It's on Facebook, Instagram. It's just at Solutions4Feet.
Yeah.
Email us fitting@Solutions4Feet.com.
Okay.
But do book an appointment. We work exclusively by appointment. It gets kind of busy, although it's been sort of COVID affected and we've not been as busy as we should be for this time of year. It's certainly starting to pick up. Everybody's trying to be positive and looking forward to what we get in the ski season.
All right, perfect. Well, look, thank you for coming and sharing some of your knowledge with us. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'm glad we were able to get to you just before
the madness.
Before the madness starts, and yeah, good.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Dave.
All right, really appreciate it.